So today I'm going to cover how do you know that it is your ego or the inner voice that you hear. The challenge lies in learning to distinguish your inner voice from the voice of your ego. And that's where many people get stuck and struggle to then progress in their soul journey. And part of that is because, you normally hear that you kind of only listen to these two voices, like you can only listen to these two voices. Either you are listening to your inner voice, which is your inner compass, your intuition, or you are listening to your ego, which is your mind. But the truth is that your ego is actually made of many voices. It's just not the voice of your mind. It's all the voices that your mind retained as memories because you were told so many times the same thing that you end up believing in it. So you have the voice of your parents or your carers, like the people that helped raised you. You have the voice of siblings. You have the voice of extended family. You have the voice of a teacher. You have the voice of a coworker or a boss. You have the voice of a religious leader that you look up to. You have the voices of your friends, of your acquaintances. You have the voice of your partner, and the list goes on. Like, you have all of these voices that you can hear. It's just not one. You have all of these voices going on in your mind. And your ego just kind of serves as a receiver for all of these voices that you grew up hearing that made you process life and decipher experiences in the world, and that created fear in you. It's kind of every time that you don't feel safe, your mind retains that voice, retains what you decipher from that experiences with the voices that were connected with it. Because you didn't feel safe, you feel scared, you felt fear. So your ego is simply the part of you, that sees fear instead of love in response to anything that is difficult or that is challenging or that is hurtful. So many people make the assumption that the ego is bad. Like the ego is like the demon or the naughty angel, right? But poor thing, the ego just wants to protect you. The ego is the part of you that wants to survive and look good in the process. And that's why it reminds you of all the reasons that you might not survive and how dumb you will look if you fail. And that causes a lot of fear, because if you do not survive, you end up dying and alone and outcasted. And then again, there is this part, like if you look dumb, you will feel rejected and judged and criticized and made fun of. So all of this brings a lot of fear. It's really scary. So your ego just wants to protect you from it. And that's why, like, the ego exaggerates on everything. So so that you believe that you are in danger. That's why you exaggerate it. And not only the ego like projects worries about the future, it also reminds you of every past hurt, every mistake, every experience that proves the reasoning behind the worries that is trying to project into your future. So it's really important when we talk about the ego that we also talk about and understand fear, because these two are connected. And without fear, there is no ego, negative ego. Because the negative ego began talking to you the first time you felt fear or you felt hate. Fear is a natural human response to the belief that love is not present. And so you are not safe. Your mind quickly creates this belief that you are on your own. If there is lack of love and lack of safety, you are on your own. You are alone. You are outcasted. You are separate from others. And not only from others, you are separate from the divine, from the protection of the divine. And then when you believe that you are on your own and that you are alone and you are vulnerable, anything that you perceive that threatens your survival becomes this menace to be feared and hated. You don't like it, you don't love it, you are uncomfortable with it, so you kind of hate that thing that is threatening your survival. And then what happens is your ego will make sure to remind you that you lack what is required to fight, to win, and to overcome the threat that is in front of you. And you lack that strength because you lack the support and love from others, because you lack divine guidance and protection. Therefore, you will not survive. If you lack these basic human needs to be safe and to be loved, you are on your own because you lack it, right? So you are on your own. And when you are on your own, you are too vulnerable to make it by yourself because you lack those basic needs. And fear thrives on lack. That's the thing. Fear fuels itself when you are feeling in lack, especially emotional lack and spiritual as well. You know, don't get me wrong, fear can be very healthy. You know, there is this fear that keeps you alert. There is this fear that makes you cautious before you make a move, right? So there is this fear that makes you reflect and ponder before you make a decision. This is healthy. This kind of fear is healthy and needed, to be honest. Is really needed. Fear only becomes dangerous when it starts debilitating you and your health, when it stops you from moving forward or carrying mundane tasks like simple things, when it keeps you in so much fear that you don't get out of the house or you stop doing certain things because you are too scared. That is the dangerous side of fear. And also, another dangerous side of fear is when fear is fooled by hate. Because hate, when you are with this very negative, toxic emotion, you will end up harming yourself and harming others, as well as your soul. Hate can become so intense that hate-based fear will cloud your reasoning and make you forget about your connection with your soul and with the divine source. And that's when the separation between us and our soul essence and our soul being happens. And that is dangerous. Unfortunately, the more airtime you give to this unhealthy voice that your ego has, that is like full with fear and hate, the more difficult it is to challenge your thoughts and your emotions and change them as well. Like, it just makes it so hard. If you don't challenge these thoughts and emotions in order to shift those beliefs, the more separate you will be from your soul, the more disconnected you will be from your soul. And you might find that once you kind of start to challenge these beliefs, these thoughts, these emotions, because you know, like, you are aware that you are awakening and you are aware that you need to do something. And normally we start with that. We start to see what are the patterns of behaviors and patterns of thoughts, unhealthy cycles, and we go and challenge them. And you might find that once you start doing that and you start trying to heal those negative patterns and cycles of behavior and emotions, your ego will fight you and will fight you hard. And the more you try to change those beliefs and heal your heart, the louder you will hear your ego talk. And why does this happen? This happens because your ego, being the voice of the aspect of you that doesn't want to heal. I know this is hard because you might think, but I am doing it, like, I'm awakening, I'm aware, I know that I have to change and I'm doing the work. How is, like, if I'm willing, why is that? Why are you saying that this is a part of me that doesn't want to heal? But is it truth? The fear of change, the fear of healing and leaving behind what you've always known and that you are comfortable with makes you resist to do the work and heal. And that's why so many people fail to do the shadow work. They start doing it, but as soon as they start healing the first layers and the ego comes out and starts like talking really, really loud, they end up giving up. They end up succumbing to the parts of themselves that are the part of themselves that is afraid to heal. Because again, it is the part of yourself that feels comfortable to be in crisis, to feels comfortable being in fear, is what you've always known. And changing that, going to something that, even though you know is better and good and healthier, it's unknown. It's uncharted. It's an uncharted world. So again, that fear of I'm not safe makes your ego talk, and many people give up. Many people don't, give up, really. They let that part of themselves that are resisting to heal and change to win. But the truth is, and this is important to know when you feel that you are in this crossroads, is that you cannot change the negative ego into a positive one. If you embarked on your shadow work and healing journey thinking, I will change my negative ego, my negative talk, my negative aspects into positive ones, you are wrong. You cannot change it. The only way is to dissolve it. And how do you do that? You dissolve that negative ego and those negative aspects of yourself by doing spiritual ground work. You have to ground yourself and do the spiritual work. When you work on committing to your soul and healing the parts of you that need more love, that need to be nurtured and accepted, you must be prepared for the idea that an aspect of you that you've always known and that you've always identified with and that you always believed yourself to be must die. You must be willing to do the necessary inner healing and trust yourself that you will survive to the death of this aspect of you. Dissolving this aspect of you that you've always known, that you've always identified with, that you always believed it was you, but it wasn't. It was based on inherent beliefs, systems and thoughts, and just a bank of memories of emotions that you always allowed your ego to feed you. You have to be willing to let it go, to heal it and let it die. You have to be willing to do that. And you have to be willing to trust. Trust in yourself that even though that part of you that you were comfortable with and you identify with is dying, you will be safe. You are safe. So one of the practices that really help to connect with your inner voice and be still in order to make that connection and hear it clearly is by doing soul writing, journaling. And I have my deck here that is almost ready for pre-orders. I know that I've been saying this for a long time, but it's almost there. And it's based on my trust pathway. That is a 5 kind of steps pathway that take you on this journey of, going to these patterns of behavior, these cycles, this toxic talk from your ego that always kept you in this comfortable part of knows what it is and of always known that and is afraid to move out of it. So it goes there and then takes you on a journey to strip all of it out, seek for the truth in it, unravel what is it that you really feel inside, what is your true essence, and helps you to connect with your essence and your soul voice. It's an amazing, amazing deck that will help you to start putting in practice and helps you to commit to a spiritual practice that will allow you to do your soul work. So if one deck can help you do that, and keep you accountable, why not? Why not do it? Why to hear the resistance of the parts of you, the aspects of you that are too scared to heal, that are too scared to change? You already are awakened. You already know that you want to change, that you want to be more connected with your inner voice, that you want to be able to hear your inner voice and know it is your inner voice talking and not the ego talking. You had enough of doubting what you're hearing. You have enough of feeling lost, feeling that you are stuck in the same cycles all the time, that life goes by and that you are still in the same place, that you're not changing. You can see everyone else's moving on with their lives, but you're still there and you don't know why. Nothing fulfills you. You're probably in the same career or looking for a career that will fulfill you. This journaling deck will help you strip all of that, heal the layers of you that are keeping you in this resistance, that are keeping you so comfortable in what you unconsciously think. You don't even think. You think that you're ready. You think that you want to change. But then because you're not going deep, the resistance is there. And you are the person that is keeping you stuck. It's not life. It's not what is around you. It's you. Because you're succumbing to the fear. You're succumbing to the negative ego. You're succumbing to your shadow rather than trying to work with it. I would love to know if this was helpful. Having your feedback is extremely helpful to me as a guide, so I know that I'm on the right track and that I'm helping you, that I'm being of service. So having your feedback will be extremely, extremely helpful for me.